show you my recreation of a design that Helen from Black Swan Beauty did about, I think it was 2 years ago or so. And so we decided to do a little collab where I create one of her designs and she creates one of mine. She decided to do the squeezed lemon design that I did a long time ago, and it's got a cute little lemon slice with a drip coming down. Instead of just doing a single nail, she put it into a whole set, and I love the finished product with all the different bright colors. It's all bright and summery, which is very much what I am into. So I love her design so much. I'll put links to both of our original videos as well as her recreation for this collaboration in the description box below, so check out that. And don't forget to give Helen some love, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
So for this one, we're going to begin by doing 2 coats of a semi-sheer nude color. So it gives kind of a foggy effect or a milky effect in the background. So there's the first coat. After the second coat, it looks about like that. And now we're going to be painting the base of Simba's head with a yellow gel polish. And this, depending on your yellow, or gel paint's probably a better choice if you do have a nice yellow gel paint. That would be a bit more pigmented. But I also ended up with 2 coats of that yellow background color. So whatever it works just to get a nice kind of smooth base for your Simba is what you want. So there's the basic shape at his ears. It doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. You can kind of adjust this shape later on too if you need to. But then we're going to start shading in his eye sockets with a medium brown. And if you find that you don't have a brown that seems like the right color, which is kind of where I was at, what I did was I mixed the closest brown I had in with some of my yellow of the background color, and it created just this nice yellow toned brown that was perfect. So then we're going to shade in some of his fur with more of a marigold color, so a darker, more copper shade of yellow, and just fill in some of the shadows where they are. Obviously, this is a subtle shadow. If you guys can tell, it's not super, contrasting. It's just a little bit more warmth to his fur where needed. Don't worry about going like right around where his mouth is going to be, because that's going to be lighter later. But then to deepen those shadows that you have just started, take another layer of that marigold, a second coat, or you can have another mix of that yellow and brown, or you can even just add a little bit of brown to your marigold color just to deepen it if that is what's needed, and add just a little bit more depth here and there to his fur where it would really need it. And to do this, really look at some photos of Simba. Anything from the original cartoon, from the original movie, aren't going to have this kind of layered, more realistic shading in them, but there's a lot of things that Disney's produced that are from them that have a lot more detail to them. So if you go find some of that imagery, there's so many different inspirational photos that you can look at to get some really nice reference photos. So then after you have that shading done for the background, take a light creamy beige color, and you're going to be adding a little highlight under his eyes and then for his cheeks and his chin. So fill in that area, and at this point you should really be able to see that your Simba looks like Simba, so that he's got kind of that distinct little smirk on his face. And maybe, it's kind of hard to tell. It's mostly in the eyes that you can see that, but every detail that you add will really bring him to life. So make sure as you are painting him that you look at it and you can see who you're painting and you are happy with the details, because you can always go back and fix things, but it's easier to correct a problem early on if there happens to be one. I'm going to add a little bit of a pale yellow to that cream area, and then we're going to start doing some detail work. So I'm going to take a dark brown gel polish, and I'm going to start doing all of these outlines. Find the skinniest brush you have in your little collection of brushes to do these outlines, and take your time. I am using a gel polish for this instead of gel paint. And with that in mind, I'm using Madam Glam for pretty much everything here, which does not self-level too much, but it does a little bit, as all gel polish will. So if that's the case, you may find that you want to flash cure periodically just to keep your lines from running into each other or from just softening. So if you decide to do a flash cure like I am right now, a little flash cure flashlight is the quickest, easiest way to do that. Otherwise, throwing it into your lamp for 10 seconds will also do the trick. And then after you're happy with your flash curing so far, then you can go ahead and finish those outlines. And depending on the gel polish you're using, if you are using gel polish, you may have to flash cure after every 2 strokes, after every 3 strokes, or like me, about halfway through will be adequate. You just have to kind of know when, and you have to know your products really is the main thing here. So I'm going to keep adding some details to his face. If at any point I feel like flash curing is needed, go ahead and do that again. Otherwise, if you are using a gel paint, you may not need to flash cure whatsoever, because those really don't self-level at all and they keep the crispest lines possible. But you may want to I have a tendency to smudge my own lines by touching them wrong. And so I like to flash cure more often than not, just to make sure that I'm not going to mess up what I've been working on, because I do have a tendency to do that. With this brown gel color as well, you're going to want to add in some of the details to Simba's eyes. And at this point, the eyes you're just kind of finding them because they're not drawn in yet. They have no details. You're just sort of slowly finding them. And one thing that you can do, if you are somebody that really likes to work sort of as almost like a paint by numbers type of a deal, is that you can pre-sketch out your little design. So you can pre-sketch it out with pencil. You'd buff the base color of your gel, and then you would just use a pencil, and you could definitely have pre-drawn in some of your details if that would be something that you think would help you. So going back to our design, we filled in his nose with a pinky beigey color, and then added a brighter shade in his eyes. I used white, but you could also use a really pale yellow too, depending on the colors that you have available. I'm going to add a little bit more shading. This is with that same color I used around his eyes, just to darken things up a little bit. I really wanted some dramatic shading. And another thing to keep in mind with this is that your brush strokes will, to an extent, sort of disappear once you top coat later. So if things look a little bit not as smooth as you'd like them to be, just bear in mind that they will get a bit more just softened and smoothed out and perfected once that top coat's applied. After the rest of your details are essentially done, take some black gel paint, and you're going to be adding the final details to Simba's face. And definitely use black gel paint if you have it available to you versus black gel polish for this. It is so much more intensely pigmented. Even the most, one coat coverage black gel polish is not going to be as intense as a black gel paint, and the leveling issue is real for this. You want these black lines to be as sharp as possible. So black gel paint is really the way to go. We're going to be outlining his eyes, giving him his eyebrows, adding his long, skinny little whiskers coming off of his cheeks. And then eventually, when you get to that point, you're also going to need to be adding his pupils. So add those details as you go, and you can do these in any order. You don't have to do the whiskers and whatever, but I wanted to do them this way because I eventually decided to add a little bit more lightness of color into his eyes. Then I'm going to flash cure all of that. I just wanted to brighten those eyes up a little bit, and then go through and add his pupils, just like so with your black gel paint. And I did use a different brush for the pupils too, versus that skinny little liner brush. I used a round brush. And then there he has a little bit of black on the bottom of his ears, so we're going to be adding that as well. Just add any of those last details. If you wanted to do some black outlines around his whole body and his head, you could do that as well. I wanted to keep them brown and a little bit more subtle. We're going to be adding those final details, a little bit of shading in his nostrils, some lines in his ears. Anything you missed is pretty much what you have left. And just look at him and check to see if you have everything. Add some highlights in his eyes, but then he should be good to go. For the thumb, I'm going to sponge some of that yellow gel polish in the rough shape of a French tip right along the tip of the nail. Add some brown into that. And then with more of the brown, I'm going to be adding a bit more defined splotches for the insides of my leopard print. And then with black gel paint, going and adding the outlines to my leopard print. And everything about this is really kind of rough, I guess you could say, with the sponging background, not a sharp line on my French tip. So if you wanted to do it with some more fading colors and not do those intense black spots, you could also do that with either a black gel polish, or you could dilute your black gel paint so they weren't quite as intense. I liked the intensity of the black, but that would be up to you. And then on the Pinkie, we're going to be applying 2 coats of that medium brown gel polish, curing after each coat. This color, look at how rich and beautiful the coverage is. It is absolutely amazing. That is the perfect brown for Madame Glam if you are curious. But then the black gel paint, once again, we're going to be doing our line work. So there's the first line, and then there's the second line. And for this is the basic design of the Pinkie and the, I think it's the index, the Pinkie and index. We're going to be doing this little line work design, and you can switch it up and kind of play around with it and do different types of patterning on it. I love doing just line work. It's such a challenge, and it's almost like meditation because you have to keep such a focus on making sure your lines are consistent, at least as best as you can, and just monitoring everything. There's so many things that could go wrong quickly when you're doing line work that I guess somehow I find that comforting because it just really makes me focus. But then we're going to, after that's done, after all your black lines are done, go ahead and cure that, add a different color, a secondary color into one of the stripes, and then some gold highlights into that zigzagging pattern. Nothing too crazy. Try to keep it actually pretty simple. You don't want to complicate it too much and make it where there's just too much going on, but a little bit of fun glitter never hurt anyone. Another thin gold stripe in those 2 brown sections. Cure that nail once again. And now on the ring nail, I'm going to be applying a layer of clear builder gel over the nail and then sprinkling a yellow glitter mix into the builder gel. After that glitter mix has been sprinkled in, and I kind of press it in sometimes, then you can go ahead and cure it and then cap the nail with another layer of clear builder gel. If this is a press-on set like I'm doing, use a builder gel that is soak-off. I know Orly makes one because they're a little bit more flexible. And now we're going to be applying some jewelry gel over that ring nail that has all the glitter in it and just sort of apply it down the whole nail, down the center. And then you're also going to apply that in the 1 brown cutout section on the pointer finger, and then we're going to apply some top coat. And you can top coat these with either matte or glossy. I personally chose to do a mixed, kind of where I felt they were, where they were more appropriate. But I did apply matte top coat over my Simba specifically because, like I said, matte top coat, even more so than glossy, is just going to make all of those little brush strokes in the background kind of just disappear and blend together, which is such a quick, easy way to make your design go from a 6 to a 10. And then on the nails that we have that jewelry gel, we can press some studs into, or some little rhinestones if you want to. I'm going to start with some different studs on the one. I do have a little sunshine stud, and I noticed that in Helen's original design, she also had that little sunshine, and I knew that I had one somewhere, so I dug through all of my embellishments until I found it, which I actually couldn't believe I found it because it wasn't where I thought it was supposed to be. And so I was really excited that I got to use that one. Just like hers. And then I have some little red studs and some black rhinestones and just a little bit of a mix down the center of that nail. And then down that stripe, the brown stripe on the index nail, I'm going to press some gold bars, just a few, kind of right down the center of the line. You have to know that you may have to adjust the spacing so that they fit the length of the nail. If you're using something similar to me, I started spacing them out a little bit further, and then once I got to the tip, I sort of had to straighten them out and push them together slightly so that they weren't so far apart all the way down. But then after all that's done, then you can go ahead and cure it. And then afterwards, I'm going to apply some glossy top coat over the black on my thumbnail, just over the black outlines of those spots. And that is it. I love these. I love these so much, you guys. I love Helen's original video. That's obviously why I chose that one to recreate the Simba. I mean, I'm a Lion King fan from way back. I have many Lion King videos, and I can put links to those in the description box as well. Like I said, I'll put links to our original videos as well as her new video. And here's the design that she came up with, or that she recreated of mine. I love the glitter in the lemon, and she used the lemon female cane slices to accent that on the ring finger, which is just the perfect complement. I love them so much, and I'm always a sucker for glitter, so, go figure. I hope you love both of our designs, and don't forget to check out Helen's channel if you haven't seen her videos before. She's got some really great different designs, and a lot of her stuff is a little bit more wearable than mine, so that can be nice too. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!